Welcome back. U.S. President Joe Biden is set to play host to dozens of African leaders in Washington this week at the White House, as the White House looks to narrow a gaping trust gap with Africa, one that has grown wider over years of frustration about America's commitment to the continent. More details.
U.S. President Joe Biden is set to play host to dozens of African leaders in Washington this week as the White House looks to narrow a gaping trust gap with Africa, one that has grown wider over years of frustration about America's commitment to the continent. In the lead up to the three-day U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit that begins Tuesday, Biden administration officials played down their increasing concern about the clout of China and Russia in Africa, which is home to more than 1.3 billion people. Instead, administration officials tried to put the focus on their efforts to improve cooperation with African leaders. This summit is an opportunity to deepen the many partnerships we have on the African continent, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said when asked about the shadow that China and Russia cast on the meetings. The White House previewed one major summit announcement on Friday, saying that Biden would use the gathering to declare his support for adding the African Union as a permanent member of the group of G20 nations. The summit will be the biggest international gathering in Washington since before the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. Local officials are warning residents to brace for roadblocks and intensified security as 9 invited heads of states and leaders and Biden is around the city. Talks are expected to center on the coronavirus, climate change, the impact of Russia's invasion of Ukraine on Africa, trade and more, according to White House officials.
A Palestinian girl was shot dead on the roof of her house during an Israeli raid in the occupied West Bank city of Jenin. The Palestinian Health Ministry identified the girl as 16-year-old Jana Magdi Assam and said that she was shot in the head. Near daily Israeli operations targeted Jenin this year. In a statement, the army said it had entered Jenin overnight on Sunday to Monday to apprehend wanted individuals and that 3 Palestinians were arrested. European Union foreign ministers will meet on Monday to try to agree on further sanctions on Russia and Iran and an additional €2 billion for arms deliveries to Ukraine. Foreign ministers are due to review new sanctions on Iranian people and organizations. They will discuss a 9th package of Russia's sanctions that is set to place almost 200 more individuals and entities on the EU sanctions list. But Borrell stressed there was still no agreement on this at this stage. He hoped that could come later on Monday or Tuesday. Ministers will also aim to top up by €2 billion, a fund member states have used to finance arms purchases for Kiev.